Hey guys, how's it going? Happy New Year! Welcome to 2024, January 1st, and our first video of the year. Anyways, we have an early 2015 MacBook Air. And do keep your eyes on my wife's channel, Susan Millard, because I did a trade deal which acquired me not only this, but I also got my hands on a 2011 MacBook Pro, which we used Open Core Legacy Patcher on after I finally got the darn thing straightened out. That was a lot of fun. But anyway, it's up and running perfectly fine now with Monterey. And I wouldn't push it beyond that because it has even less video memory than this. And it's a Pro 2.8 gigahertz i7. And it only has half a gig of video. This has got a gig and a half. Alright, so anyways, keep an eye on the channel for that. She'll get to it eventually. But today, we're going to talk about my early 2015 MacBook Air that natively supports nothing higher than Monterey. And you can actually run Boot Camp with Windows. No big deal. So you can run Windows 10 on this thing if you've got the guts for it. I wouldn't though. It's a pretty slow machine, honestly. So let's go over the specs. We have a 1.6 gigahertz dual core i5. We have 8 gigabytes of memory, which is actually pretty peachy cream with Monterey because it uses less than 3 gigs. So we got a little over 5 gigs free, which is pretty good for running, well, depending on the apps, I would say no more than 2. Okay, but try and keep it at 1 because the more crap you try and get to load on this thing at once, the higher those thermal temperatures are going to climb. Okay, but anyways, we'll get to all that down the road here. So 8x256, like I said, 1.6 gigahertz dual core i5, 720p webcam, a couple little microphones along the side here. Interesting place to put them. Headphone jack, 2 Type A USB 3.0 ports, so there's one on each side. Full-size SD card reader on the other side, as well as your mini display port, Thunderbolt port for display. So you can hook up a 4K display to this. Screen resolution built in is 1440 by 900, so pretty decent, you know. Really thin, light laptop too. It's like, wow, and they actually have a fan in this thing too, which is amazing. They found space in this, but not in the M1s or M2s, and those things could still use fans, trust me. Okay, anyways, but Apple does what they do. So anyhow, this one actually, I just have to put a battery in it. I've already repasted it because it was a good thing I cracked it open to find out. Apple, in all their wisdom, when they pasted the CPU, there's another die right beside it that the heatsink goes across. Somebody didn't paste it, Apple. Okay, so I had to do it. Anyways, I love having fun. While I was at it, there's a gasket, by the way, that covers your fan. Very common practice for Apple to do this. And of course, this one also partially wraps around either end of the heat pipe where the radiator is, which is supposed to help cool down that pipe to send that cool temperature along its way to the CPU to help further cool the CPU better. Well, that kind of gets restricted with that rubber gasket around there that's pretty thick. Because yeah, rubber contacting metal, not a good thing. Okay, so I couldn't get the temps under control, and so I ripped out the darn gasket, which allowed a lot more airflow, not only internally but better exhaust of the air and total perfect cooling across the radiator and the pipe. And yeah, our temperatures are finally, you know, sitting around that 40, 41 degrees resting temperature, sometimes even into the low 30s, just sitting here doing nothing. Okay, and that's about where these Intel chips generally average on pretty much every Mac I've played with on them. So anyways, they run hot. They're Intel. What can I say? Even my Intel chip in my heavy-duty gamer system laptop, it runs hot just sitting there doing nothing. But anyhow, now with games, we want to talk about that. Don't even think about Minecraft. I tried, and within 3 minutes, not only were the fans full bore, the thing did a complete nuclear shutdown. I mean, it just spazzed right out. It just went boom like that, and lights out, man. And I had to let her cool down for a bit. And it fired back up and it's been fine. So, no Minecraft on this. I wouldn't even do it on any of the Intel Airs at all. Okay? So, But you can play cheesy games, okay? Chrome Egg Rally, Halloween 3D, Motorbike, Pool, RC Sim, any of your card games, if you're into card games, of course. Word Connect programs, no problem. Block programs, no problem. Now, these are a little raunchier. Unreal Tournament and Unreal Tournament 2004, they're a little raunchier, but they're also games that were originally PC that I wrapped with Polytol Porting Toolkit to work on the Mac. Takes a while before it launches. I mean, you double click on it, and it's like you see that little, and it's like, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. It will take a while, but it'll boot up, and gameplay is fantastic. It's just phenomenal, and no problems with temperatures or anything. Runs awesome. So, and there's probably a gazillion other games you could actually run on a MacBook Air, even of this vintage, that are going to run fine. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of, you got to find out which ones crash it and which ones don't. Surfing the internet is quite fun on this. Safari's pretty quick, of course, which you would expect from Safari to do that. Yeah, okay, we already know that junk. If we want to go to YouTube, we can do that. Boom, boom, boom. We go to YouTube and we can watch videos. It has no issues with videos. And this is all Wi-Fi too, because this thing doesn't even have an Ethernet port built into it, right? At least there's one thing I can say. All right, Apple, I agree. There was no way to fit one in. All right, but anyhow, so we want to go launch Google Chrome. Chrome works really good on this thing too, and this is going right to YouTube Direct. Takes a little bit longer, but it is a little bit more of a hog too. And we can see our temperatures going as well. And this is average core temperature that we're getting. And it drops down pretty good too. So, I mean, you don't have to worry too much. As long as you're not pushing things too hard. Logic Pro, it's way better than GarageBand. I'm using a trial version continually. But one of these days I'm going to have to buy this program, at least for my Apple Silicon machine. But you can see, like, this thing, it does pretty good, And we've got, like, over, what do we got here? Like 29,409 items in the list for fun to play with. And you can do audio work on this without too much. I don't think you'll have any real issues at all, to be honest. Just don't run anything else at the same time as you're running a program. Keep the resources free, you know what I mean? GarageBand, same thing. It works fine. I've got OpenOffice on here. Now, even with all that, and Logic and GarageBand are maxed out for sounds, which is a lot on friggin' Logic. Logic's like over 40 gigs alone, close to 50 gigs actually. I still have 132 gigs free, so I'm not even sure if I even want to think about upgrading the drive, but I'm considering entertaining it, because you can upgrade the drive in this. Even in the 2017 Air, you can upgrade the drive, at least the one I looked into. And that's the thing, you got to look at each one on an individual case, okay? But no MacBook Air in history has ever been able to upgrade the RAM. Like the way you got it or the way you custom ordered it, that was it. But at least the drives, for a long time, we could upgrade in Airs and Pros as well, okay? So anyhow, I have a love-hate relationship with these things, especially in the Intel range. But I'm really loving my M1, finally. But I decided, I need some projects, I need some stuff to do. And, trade deals work for me. If I can make a trade with somebody and they're happy and I'm happy and I can do some videos for you guys on more computer stuff, what the heck, Now, these things, by the way, I did the evaluation through Apple for trade-in toward an M1 Air of all things. And it doesn't matter what you try the trade-in on. They said this thing's like worth $75 to them. And by the way, for the record, Apple is not refurbishing for the refurbished store any Intel Mac unless it's a Mac Pro Tower or a Mac Pro server, okay? That is it. Nothing else is going up there, apparently. That's what they've told me. So all they're doing is taking these off our hands for basically next to nothing. They offered on the trade-in evaluator, what was it, like $150, I think it was, for a 2019 iMac 4K Retina that's nicely juicy. Still had stock RAM, but you can upgrade the RAM, you can upgrade the drive. You just got to rip the motherboard out to do it. But you can do it. That's the thing. And that 2019 natively supports Sonoma. And it's like, and they're still only paying that much. And it's like, yeah. So I was saw this at $75, and I'm like, okay, so what's the real value? Technically and honestly, guys, the value of your computers that you're trying to offload are as much as somebody's willing to pay for it and how much you're willing to let it go for, honestly, okay? That's with anything in life. But I think more realistically, I know for myself, if I was going to buy this MacBook, even with knowing that I needed a battery, but the battery will still run for like 5 hours at least out of 12. It's in pristine condition and everything, but I still wouldn't pay more than $1.25 for it. That's it, like top dollar, okay? I know what the computer is, I know what it can do and can't do, and yeah, it's just when you can get better computers, like people are still trying to get $400 out of these 2015s, and it's like, you got rocks in your head if you think you're going to get that kind of money, except from a sucker, and somebody who doesn't even understand computers, because that's about the only way it's going to happen. Because for $450, I mean, it's at that point now where I have literally seen MacBook Air M1s for that price, okay, that are fully functional, right? I mean, the average is 6 to 7, but I have seen people selling for far less, because even the M1s are not holding value. Intel used to, but ever since Apple Silicon came out, toilet tank with Intel chips. And the M1s, they're making M1, M2, M3, boom, boom, boom. So they're cutting their own feet on this one, and that's why the values are not holding up as well as they should, even on Apple Silicon stuff. It's just they're pumping out too many too quick, and it's just a roundabout game of don't. And I'll tell you, even Apple ain't gonna pay you much for an M1 either. On trade-in value, oh, talk about an insult. And I've mentioned this before. I paid $1,400 pre-tax, pre-extra warranty for my mini M1 as a 16 by 512, and I can't even get them for like $325. It's just like, you've got to be kidding me. And it's a 2-year-old computer that's in absolute perfect condition. I mean, I don't even have 400 hours on the internal drive because I'm using an external drive for a boot drive. Apple don't care. You know what I mean? So yeah, how much is your stuff worth now? Really? Okay? But anyhow, it doesn't matter. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Be cautionary with it on what you do. Don't buy any MacBook Air, period, with 4 gigabytes of RAM, or any Mac, period, that cannot upgrade the RAM. Don't buy anything with less than 8 gigs if you're looking at the older Macs. And, preferably the more RAM the merrier. But the Airs, as far as I know, for the Intels, I don't know of any that ever went beyond 8 gigs, even from custom order, but I could be wrong there. But I don't know everything. That's the thing. So I come across this on a case-by-case basis myself. Because I am looking for more of these things, but more of the faster processor versions, and they do have a couple of quad-core chipped versions of the Air. I wouldn't mind getting into those and seeing what we can pull off with them as well. And do stay tuned, because I ordered that battery. It should be here at the end of the week, hopefully. And we'll show you how fast and simple and easy it is in this model to change that battery out. It is ridiculously simple. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Anyways, in the meantime, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. And again, have a Happy New Year.